epidemic of highly respected figures in Hollywood getting away with sexual assault. I want to make sure you pay attention to this. 1 second.
Bros, we have an epidemic of highly respected figures in Hollywood, and they're getting away with sexual assault.
Oh no.
What?
Now do you believe us?
So, Anita Sarkeesian is up to her old tricks once again, as you've seen, bringing out a white guy, and being like, oh, well, because he's a white guy, you'll believe him so much more than me, just because I'm a woman. And it seems like she's running out of money, as if you are anyone that is not far right, that followed or supported Gamergate, you are going to be incredibly insulted by the claims that she is making in this video. It seems like she still is annoyed that she was completely proven as a liar. So we're going to jump right into this slanderous, insane video.
Hey, what do you say you and me go on a little time travel adventure? We're gonna hop in the internet Wayback Machine and go all the way back to the distant past of a few weeks ago, where we found some online records indicating that in early October of 2017, a website called BuzzFeed published a barn burner of a story. Entitled Alt-White, How the Breitbart Machine Laundered Racist Hate, the piece blows the lid off of the internal workings of Breitbart News.
Yeah, I'm not really going to trust BuzzFeed as far as I could throw BuzzFeed. And look, it was an interesting leak. I didn't really see the racist aspect to it. It did show that obviously we're in a culture war. They think we're in a massive culture war with authoritarians, and it's quite interesting. But I could be wrong, Anita, but yeah. Far be it for me to trust BuzzFeed.
It's a meticulously researched story that has plenty of evidence in the form of emails and other internal documents to prove that Breitbart actively and intentionally worked to bring white nationalist ideas into the mainstream. Reaction to the story has been strong, with some people lamenting that we should have seen the signs. We should have done something to stop these racist ideas from being smuggled into the mainstream political discourse.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Anita, racism has already been mainstreamed, and it's in the form of anti-white racism. And I don't understand what you guys thought. If you're racist against these people, obviously they're going to retaliate against you eventually. I don't want that to happen whatsoever. But what did you expect? And from what you showed just there's no racism. Islam's not a race, so I think it's more like Western liberal values they're talking about. Once again, I could be wrong, but from what you've showed just there, that's not racist. And if it was like, oh, we just need to get those black people, then I'm guessing that you would have showed that email of them saying that.
The BuzzFeed article accurately describes Gamergate as the opening salvo of the new culture wars, though personally, I like to describe it as a waking nightmare on par with a clown convention or a 24-hour Nickelback marathon.
Gamergate involves some male gamers harassing women who are speaking out about the portrayal of women in video games.
So this is where Anita compares Gamergate to basically the startup movement for the alt-white, as she calls them. Incredibly disgusting, Anita. You're so hung up on this. Even, it's a couple of years since it's been over. And no, you've moved on from they're just harassing women to they just hate everyone else now. Wow, just horrifically bad, Anita. So insulting.
Presumably after the initial shock that women were speaking to them at all.
During that horrifying and destructive temper tantrum of weaponized white male rage, this is just one of the many incredibly racist images that was circulated on the internet to drum up anger and fuel harassment against me.
The internet and its memes, yeah, that's not a really nice one, is it, Anita? But you are a con artist, so it kind of works. But yeah, man, you guys just can't take a joke, can you? And yet you're the one that's saying that the Gamergate movement basically want all other races to go extinct. That is what those white people all believe, right, Anita?
And this is hardly limited to me. Ask any woman with white privilege who's been harassed online, and without a doubt they will have stories about the incredibly ugly and vile anti-Semitism woven into the attacks against them, whether they're Jewish or not.
Yeah, people like to use that to troll people on Twitter. I don't really understand why that one specifically, but hey, it's the internet. You've got to be able to handle jokes. Or worst comes to worst, just block people. You can do what Steve does, and then just block everyone that might have a opposing opinion, and like their family and their family's friends, and their family's friends' dogs. Like seriously, he has so many people blocked. You can do that, Anita. You basically will never really speak to anyone, but still.
Women, people of color, queer, and trans folks were viciously targeted, harassed, and threatened by the loose coalition of forces that became Gamergate, way before that particular movement even took shape. The dehumanizing and dangerous strains of racism and misogyny that fueled it were apparent to all of us. And we spoke out, loudly and clearly and repeatedly, but nothing changed.
You went to the UN. You spoke at the UN, Anita. You've got, what, hundreds of thousands of dollars out of this? I don't know what else you want. Besides just games just totally, we can't do anything that Anita Sarkeesian deems offensive. And yet you throw these terms around, like racist, white male privilege. You're claiming an entire movement that, I'm sorry, didn't just have white men. Hashtag not your shield. Have you ever heard of that movement? You're claiming all of them are now white nationalists. It's ridiculous. Come on, Anita. I don't know how anyone believes you now. And yet, yep, you're one of YouTube's trusted people. It's ridiculous.
We watched in disbelief as Milo Yiannopoulos got six-figure book deals and was chummy with Bill Maher on HBO, despite his history of drumming up mobs that targeted feminists, spouting the most vile racist insults imaginable at black women, and outing trans people with the intent of destroying their lives.
He just got married to his black boyfriend, so yeah, he's probably one of the worst racists around. He says a lot about Islam, but that's not really a race now, is it, Anita? Once again, Milo hasn't been and spoken at the UN. You have. You never change, do you, Anita? Is the money running out? So that must mean you just have to make more and more race-baiting videos? Is that what's going on?
We also watched in horror as Breitbart News, which had been a driving force behind Gamergate, seamlessly morphed into being a driving force behind Trump's presidential campaign, relying on the exact same brand of racist, sexist provocation they'd relied on before. If all of us were speaking out about these things, why wasn't anything being done?
Just seems like Breitbart was following the trend, to be honest, and they supported Trump. That doesn't mean they're racists. And from what you've showed, that's not racism. Those institutions and groups that are put in there are literally entirely focused on spreading more hate so they can stay around. You do realize if they actually achieve their goals, they disappear. So they have a monetary value of finding discrimination. That's why it's just so warped.
Well, we live in a culture in which men are given the benefit of the doubt, in which men's voices are considered authoritative, rational, and true, and in which far too often what women say is given little weight. We're dismissed as emotional or hysterical.
Maybe in the 1920s, Anita, who is silencing you? Who is dismissing you as emotional? You have been on basically all the TV networks. You went to VidCon, called someone in the audience a garbage human, then later screamed at another presenter where there were witnesses, and he was Boogie. He was too nice that he sort of downplayed it a bit. And VidCon took your side. What else do you want? You are abusing people and getting away with it via the institutions. You've been to the UN and complained about how terrible women have it in the West, when, man, there's so many women out there, not in the West, that need your help. More than just mean words on the internet. Oh, you're so frustrating.
It's as if women are canaries in our cultural coal mines meant to discover where our culture is particularly toxic by suffering from the poisonous fumes of misogyny. It's only after we cry out long enough and loud enough about how awful it is that finally someone else, a man, notices and says something.
If it's so terrible, why do you have that little smirk in the corners throughout this entire video? And you really do have the liar's smile. You don't believe any of this, do you, Anita? you're like, oh, well, yep, I'm running a bit low on the cash, so I better just claim everyone's, alt-white, which is just so lame. We're nearly done. This is nearly over. Anita really, really bugs me because she just earns money from race baiting, from claiming all white men have. It's just disgusting. Like, if you want to burn your money, people that support Anita, fine, but still, just, I can't believe she still has followers.
In so many spheres of life, the claims of women are routinely ignored or dismissed, or men use their power to keep women from speaking up in the first place. If you want to help curtail dangerous and deadly political movements before they take root in the White House, there's a pretty simple first step. Start listening to women!
No, Anita, I'm not going to do that because then I would have to believe everything you have said in this video, and I am not going to live in your horrific fantasy world. I'm quite fine living in reality, thanks. Anyway, Anita Sarkeesian apparently never changes. This microphone is new. It was actually sent to me by a subscriber, someone in my Discord by the names of Occam's Router. Mate, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much, because my current microphone, it cuts out every sort of couple of seconds of our moves, so I've had to I couldn't live stream before, so now I can. So if anyone knows some people I should be live streaming with, let me know. Or if you have any topics you want me to see discussed in a live stream, I've sort of watched a lot, so I know sort of what works, sort of what not. But hey, if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'll catch you all in the next video. And Anita, oh man, I'm going to be covering you in the future because you've sort of gone off the radar, but jeez, this video was incredibly bad. Get over it. You lost. Gamergate is over. Stop bringing it back up and then insulting them more.